The basic purpose of this press conference is regarding the double track laying of the double track railway line from Marmagua port onwards towards Karnataka. The Goa Pradesh Congress Committee has taken a very clear stand that we oppose this double track laying. The reason we oppose this laying of the double track primarily stems from the fact that, one, there is a long-time demand of the residents of Vasco, Murmagaon and surrounding areas that coal pollution, which is a major problem there as of date, should be stopped immediately. Next issue is, whilst moving to lay this additional track along the existing railway lines, the government has been most insensitive to the demands of the people, to the grievances of the public living along the existing tracks, which are proposed to be doubled. I am surprised that the government is so insensitive. Insensitive because if you go along the route, you will see that even with the existing single line, this single line is a nuisance in the lives of the people living across the tracks. Why do I say it is a nuisance? Because I have personally seen, that when a train is stopped, could be for various reasons, could be parked, one, could be taken along the next, the parallel line to allow a train to pass. These poor people sometimes have to jump over the wagons. I mean, when I say over the wagons, I mean over the, where the wagons are sort of linked together, which is difficult, especially for senior citizens. Having said all this, I believe that whilst we should be sensitive to the needs of the people, to the demands of the people, I also believe the state has to progress in various forms, be it industrialization, be it economically. We require projects, but these projects should not be at the cost of the common man. Nobody can deny the fact that industrialization has contributed immensely to the economic development of the state. Whilst this has happened, it is also a fact that this industrialization takes its toll on the environment, leading to some degradation. Since men, that is you and me, have to live in such an environment, the process of development should be sustainable so that the quality of the environment is kept within safe limits. The mining industry in Goa has had a number of positive and significant impacts in the economic development of Goa. However, there has also been an impact on the environment in certain pockets, some of which are due to the unique features of mining in Goa. Some, of course, are due to bad mining practices and poor environmental management adopted by some of the companies. The Chinese boom resulted in an increase in the production of iron ore, which in turn resulted in the increase of extraction and transportation activities, setting up a number of dry screening plants, wet beneficiation plants, workshops, garages, etc. It has also led to a growth in economic activities, which has given rise to deterioration in the quality of environment to some extent, that is vis-a-vis air, water and water. The last 2 decades have therefore witnessed the impact on land and water bodies resulting in the environmental degradation. I would agree to sustainable development, provided this development is not at the cost of the common man. There are some measures that can result in a well-managed development with the involvement of the locals. Therefore, it is important to ensure that the following become the integral part of sustainable development for transportation of iron ore, fertilizers, coal and other industries. Number 1, handling of bulk material. Number 2, least inconvenience to the local population. Number 3, disturbance to the flora and fauna. Number 4, energy and resource saving measures. Coming to handling of bulk material, the material like iron ore, coal, etc. should be handled in an environment-friendly manner. There should be least inconvenience to the people, pollution, flora and fauna. Care should be taken to mitigate any such issues. Equipments, processes, procedures and trained manpower should supervise these operations. The operations should also be carried out in a contained environment like covered domes, silos, etc., so that fugitive dust is controlled. All transfer points should be covered and provided with water mist spray. Dust precipitators must be provided. The environmental clearance must be obtained and renewed on a regular basis. Monitoring of water consumption and disposal. The noise and dust levels must be as per the norms laid out by the State Pollution Control Board. Regular audits must be carried out. Compliance reports must be available. Transportation of bulk material through existing roads is making hell for the people staying along and around these roads. Traffic jams and accidents, thus this too should be reduced to the bare minimum in order to avoid inconvenience to the public. Inconvenience to the local population. Any project, industry, facility must be for the good of the people in addition to the objectives of the stakeholders. An example we have today. The doubling of the railway tracks is creating havoc in the life of people along the coastal belt of Goa, all the way from Marmugao port towards the hinterland in Karnataka. These residents are being forced to vacate, hand over, even at times forcefully acquired land that have been marked for doubling of tracks. These people have inherited all this land from their ancestors and have been living there much before even the railway line in Goa was ever planned for. Is this double track really required in this area? I believe there are alternatives, and these alternatives exist and must be evaluated. The traffic along this proposed line is mostly for the movement of coal right now, and that which is unloaded at the Marmugao Port Trust and moved to hinterland. It's unfortunate that this exercise has ensured passenger trains are being sacrificed for freight, resulting in fewer trains to transport passengers. Disturbance to flora and fauna. The doubling of tracks is not just limited to some villages in Goa, but goes all the way up to the Dudhsagar waterfall, from there to Castle Rock. The present existing track was a track planned and designed incidentally by a Goan gentleman, engineer Braganza by name. To date, this stretch up the Ghats from Dudhsagar to Castle Rock is known in the railways as Braganza Ghats. Originally, this track was a meter gauge railway line. However, the track was thereafter converted to broad gauge, keeping in mind the future needs of the railways. The railway tracks pass through the wildlife sanctuary, and the proposed doubling is going to be a further threat to the lush green forests as the frequencies of train would increase, thus destroying the serenity of the Ghats. The doubling track, along with the 4 lanes highway and power line, will further slice through the ecological fragile Sahyadri range and the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary. Incidentally, this is Goa's oldest protected area. Railway tracks contribute to the onslaught on wildlife in more ways than most direct ones, which is, of course, having animals killed, maimed by trains. Every kind of animal, including elephants, tigers, leopards, bisons, etc., have been so many times mowed down by trains on Indian tracks. Besides this, the local corridors for the movement of animals will be changed forever, and as a direct result, we will be having animals coming closer to human habitation areas. Energy and resource saving measures like solar energy, rainwater harvesting, and garbage management. As we know, transportation of bulk materials by inland waterways is by far the cleanest mode as proven for the last 60 plus years. It also eliminates pollution, traffic jams, and other ills on our roads. Incidentally, one barge would have the capacity to carry 2,500 tons, which in turn is equivalent to 175 trucks. 2 barges would be equivalent to 1¼ rake of railways. One rake consists of 58 wagons, which would carry a load of up to 4,000 tons on the Braganza Ghat. Keeping in mind the safety along this stretch, additional engines are being attached to the trains. This will remove the necessity of doubling of the coastal rail route, thereby providing relief to the locals whose properties are in immediate danger of being taken over. Now, what are the alternatives? Point number 1, incorporate the mitigation measures spoken earlier. Point number 2, I remember when I was a member of the Legislative Assembly and thereafter as a minister, I remember there was a hue and cry in the Savarja-Kursori belt regarding pollution vis-a-vis dust pollution due to INO. As a consequence to the agitation, as a consequence to the objection of the locals, the then government formed a committee which was constituted after being notified with notification number 8/6/94-STE dated 25th July 1994. This committee, after detailed discussion, came to the conclusion that the activity should be shifted from Kursore to its outskirts. To resolve this issue and meet the demand of the locals due to pollution in the air, a consortium of mine exporters, along with the Southwestern Railways, at that time it was known as Southeastern Railways, came together. This consortium and the Southwestern Railways undertook a detailed study and came to the conclusion, keeping in mind the recommendations of the committee set up by the government of Goa, that the ore be transported to the banks of river Zwari at Shalwana by laying a railway track of only 3 kilometers. The entire transportation through this line would have been in closed hopper wagons, which are much superior to the flimsy tarpaulin that covers that are presently being used. The railways supported the idea along with the consortium of Goa mine exporters. They jointly undertook a detailed project report almost 2 decades ago. The report recommended, besides laying of the track, a loop system on a raised embankment and having all the material handling systems as mooted in the report. The inbound and outbound cargo was to be received in underground track hoppers using wagon tipplers in covered sheds and in turn conveyed to domes and silos for storage and retrieval. The project envisaged that the iron ore be transported from this jetty at Shelwana by closed barges with hatch covers to Marmagua port, and on the return bring coal and any other material that was necessary to be transported to and from Karnataka. This project was to be implemented with Japanese technology. The proposed project had the approval of Ministry of Railways, the Town and Country Planning Department, besides others. The project was discussed in detail by the Goa State Pollution Control Board, and a detailed report was then submitted to the government by its then chairman, Dr. L.U. Joshi. During the Congress regime around the year 2007-2008, the then government saw this as a solution to many issues, mainly coal dust pollution and a way to avoid laying of the double track along the coastal route. The government moved to the acquired land at Shelwana. Orders under Section 4 and under Section 6 of the Land Acquisition Act were issued by the Land Acquisition Officer. However, the process to acquire this land was challenged in the Honorable High Court of Bombay at Goa. The learned judge directed that the proceedings be stayed, as the procedure followed was not in accordance with the prescribed norms. Immediately, the South Western Railways preferred an appeal against the said order, and the same is pending before the Honorable Supreme Court. I would like to admit that in the proposed project, there would be a need to sacrifice trees like coconut, mango, jackfruit, and other types of trees, besides some paddy fields. However, it was proposed and suggested that the land along the railway tracks could be utilized to grow more trees than that required to be cut. Incidentally, even today, we have an example in Goa of a similar operation. The then Seza Goa, now known as Vedanta, imports coal into Goa. The coal in the ships are unloaded through transshippers on the high seas into barges. This coal is then transported through barges along River Mandovi to Vedanta's steel plant in Amona. On the return journey, the barges are used to transport iron ore to vessels which are anchored on the high seas. This is a totally mechanized operation which does not disturb the population along the roads through which this material would have otherwise been transported. This would be one proposal which the government of Goa could re-look into, and should they find it interesting, make a detailed study, and if required, approach the proponents to restart this project. Another solution could be, you see, today in the country, a few examples I'll give you. A process has started of laying underground slurry pipes. In certain parts of the country, like in Orissa, an underground specially engineered pipeline has been laid through which minerals such as coal, iron ore, and mining waste are being transported over long distances to Vizag by ArcelorMittal, erstwhile Essar Steel. It is called a slurry pipeline, and benefits include least environmental degradation, stroke damage, low cost of transportation of the material. Another example of a slurry line is from Barbil to Kalinganagar, both in Orissa, owned by Brahmani River Pellets Limited, covering a distance of 230 kilometers. Further yet, another example being the Joda to Pradeep line, both again in Orissa, owned by Essar Steel, with a length of 253 kilometers. Some of the other benefits of such a pipeline include eliminating the dust hazard, air and noise pollution, and has a negligible effect on the environment in terms of aesthetics as well as since it is underground. The space requirements are also very nominal, and the space above the pipeline can be used for agricultural purposes. It would be a particular boom for transportation under adverse conditions, especially areas to pass through like thick jungles like our Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary. The minus point of this slurry pipeline, I have to mention, is there is a requirement of water. Though I believe in the mining areas, the pits have the capacity to hold a lot of rainwater, which could be used or tried to be used to become the source of water for this type of a pipeline. I therefore would appeal to the government of Goa, don't push down the throats of our Goans. This double track line that is being under process of being laid. Study these two projects. I'm sure there may be many other projects that could also be considered, but let us unitedly try and find a solution to the problem. Having found such a solution, I'm sure Goa and Goans at large would be spared from the mal effects of unplanned development. And especially the people of Marmagao Taluka, in particular residents of Marmagao and Vasco, would be saved of coal dust pollution. The people along the existing railway line from Vasco to Savarde and beyond into Karnataka would be saved of the ancestral houses and ancestral land. Incidentally, precious lives would also be saved along our roads due to the reckless driving by truck drivers. Last and not the least, the risk to the lives of wildlife animals would be drastically reduced due to not laying of the additional railway track. Thank you.
So Congress in support of handling of the core, the core.
Congress is opposing laying of the double track.
Yeah, the double track railway has been laid just to handle the core, if I'm not wrong.
That's what he said.
Exactly. So by giving the two ways, like as you said, the waterways, the transportation can be easily be done, or maybe through the barges which has that fly past the ocean. So my simple question is, Congress in support of the handling of the coal or opposed?
Congress is in support of finding a solution to issues that have arisen as a consequence to coal being stored at Maramugawa Harbour. Congress is also trying to find an alternative to laying of a double track, which, if laid, would be a source of nuisance, a source of you see, it is going to inconvenience the lives of people living along the tracks. You have people whose houses are there, 100, 200-year-old houses.
And due to the vibration, they are collapsing also.
I have not said they are collapsing.
Yeah.
I am saying could collapse, could damage their houses. So, keeping in mind all these issues, we are here trying to suggest to the government, don't push down this project down the throats of the people, but consider their demand. What is their demand? Vasco people's first demand, stop coal pollution. People living along the track say what? Don't acquire our land for laying of this second track. So we are trying to say, I am trying to say that during in the past, there was proposals that came to the government. Relook into them. If you are not happy with those proposals, see what is today. You see, technology is moving, evolving. See what is the latest technology in the market and find a solution to the problem. But don't push it down the throats, because we definitely support the demands of the locals, wherein we say no double track laying to be done.
So what will be the substitute option, handling it through the waterway?
Yes. For example, Shelwana, Shelwana, you see, you may ask me why I'm harping on Shelwana. Shelwana has been identified as a spot where the river has got sufficient depth to take in those barges. You may say go ahead. You can go ahead, but the river is not deep enough to accommodate that barges of that capacity.
So Congress has no objection in handling the coal through the waterway.
Congress is not supporting handling of coal through waterway. Congress is saying find a solution to the dust pollution in Vasco. This is what Congress is saying.
The project should be first cancelled.
The project of acquiring land and laying of a double track should be stopped, which in turn I think means cancelled.
Okay, let me put in the other way. So people are demanding.
Put in whatever way you want.
The people are demanding that the MPT should handle not the dirty cargo but the cruise liners. So how you see for that?
See, I would put it this way, boss.
Okay.
If tomorrow government accepts, for example, coal handling, coal transportation or transportation from Shelwana and to Shelwana, don't you think automatically Maramugawa Port Trust Harbour is going to be cleaned? Now you tell me. If there is no, today you will agree with me that the harbour is dirty or the harbour is filthy primarily because of coal and ore. Okay? Ore today has been by and large solved. Why do I say it is solved? Because the vessels coming to Goa to take ore from here are anchored in the high seas. With the help of transshippers, the barge comes alongside and that ore is loaded onto the vessel. So the question of ore coming to the port does not arise. Agreed? So one part is over. Next part is what? Coal. Now if this coal is shifted from there, this coal is taken to another place where there are silos, where there are domes, where the shed is totally covered when the barge comes with the load and the train is there, the sheds are covered. There won't even be, I feel, there will not be dust pollution in those areas. Automatically your harbour will clean up, and definitely with pleasure we will be able to welcome guests who come on cruise vessels.
That is one of the reasons the cruise liners are less in MPT.
I would tend to believe that, you see, seeing that situation, people may not be comfortable.
But overall, if go to see the people are opposing any kind of dirty cargo handling in Goa, it may be coal or it may be anything. How you see for that?
People are why are people opposing? People are opposing primarily, for example, we are talking about coal. People are opposing primarily because all over you go in Maramaga Taluka, you're getting the black soot, which is coal dust. So if you and I were living there, would we welcome that? You're breathing that dust in the air all the time.
It doesn't sprinkle and cover it for me.
Father, that is open.
True.
I am talking of something that is totally covered.
This will give some business to the barge industry.
Automatically, if you're going to charter the barge to transport the ore and to transport the coal vice versa, definitely they will get business. Why will they not get business? Today the barge is idle.
This could be one of the.
It is definitely, I believe it could help.
And the doubling of the railway track, that project has to be cancelled before that.
I would assume it is cancelled. If this is coming up, what is the need for laying of a double track?
So basically, you are demanding the transportation should be done through the waterway, not by the plane.
I am demanding that to a particular extent, as much as possible, let us do through waterways. Beyond that point, let us use the existing railway track. And it's not that Alesh Sikora is saying. There are studies that have been conducted.
So NIO has conducted any study on this?
Who?
NIO?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
And I don't see any role of NIO in such a project.
There is a hill cutting, tree cutting, and animal. Lot of things are there, no? So somewhere I believe that NIO should come into the picture.
What does NIO have to see with tree cutting and hill cutting and all that?
Springs and springs.
NIO has no role there. Sure. I could understand if you say forest department, you say WRD, you say those department. But I personally don't see any role for NIO. You may be right. Maybe even biodiversity committee has a role.
Including the whole.
But NIO, I don't see any role.
Has to be done by and conducted and submitted.
No, that is all easier said than done. For any project, for any project, you have to conduct an environment assessment impact report. No? So
my second question, sir.
Ask what you want.
Okay. We have seen that you are saying the electricity bill is there is nothing, and we have seen the Congress young youth brigades. They are everywhere in the nook, every corner. They are saying that the electricity. How is it for that? Because
I have made a statement, and I am very clear in my mind that whatever I have said, I stand by. Okay. I am told that some Congress leaders have criticized me and whatever. I have not heard their statements. I have not seen anything like that. So I am not going to comment on what they say. Because I have not heard, I have not seen myself. So I am not in a position to comment. I stand by whatever I have said.
There is nothing wrong in electricity bill.
I believe that there is nothing wrong in the bill. I believe that we have consumed extra power during the lockdown days. You see, it was summertime, so many of us have been putting on the fan the whole day. Many of us have been putting on the AC the whole day. All sorts of electrical gadgets we have been using. In the confusion, our consumption has gone up.
But your own good youth wings from the Congress.
Boss, as far as my youth wing is concerned, as far as the Congress party is concerned, I have been told that certain leaders have made statements against me, criticizing whatever I have said. I have not heard a word, so I am not willing to comment. I don't know what they've said, so on what am I going to comment? Just because you are saying, I am not willing to comment.
Okay, let me come on the other way. The BJP party is saying that the Congress is doing a politics on the electricity.
I have no comments. I don't know about politics. I can only tell you one thing, that whatever I said, I was the ex-power minister. I said it in the presence of Mr. Digambar Kamath, who was the earlier power minister. Prior to the press conference, we have sat together, we have discussed the issue at length. And whatever I have said, I don't think I am wrong in saying that he also agrees with what I said.
Thank you.